I would be happy.
Hi, Stuart.
Yeah, hi, Larry.
Can you talk about our perceptions of life, looking at our experience with a detached clarity versus taking a positive spin or negative spin of what we see in our lives?
Yes, look, I talk about this a lot. Positive and negative simply depends upon how each human being sees it. You can get 20 different people look at the exact same thing, and everybody's going to have a different interpretation. And that's what creates Maya, because reality, has to transcend, positive and negative, because reality has to be kind of a universal principle that goes beyond that. So we need a kind of detachment in ourselves and able to see not what's really positive and negative, but how can every experience that we have in our lives work for us, help us to grow, make us more of a human being? How can we use things that manifest in our minds as positive or negative as an opportunity to grow and build ourselves as human beings and to get to a transcendental level of consciousness, which has to do with being detached inside yourself from both positive and negative, which has to do with being able to see the world clearly and how to use all the different manifestations of life as an opportunity to build a stronger inner life and to truly have a spiritual life. I mean, to me, that touches on reality. Because, look, you have 7 billion people in the world and everybody sees their own reality. Everybody lives in their own cubicle. And I don't know. I mean, just look at this COVID thing. And, you have 50 different people have different ideas of what this is about masks, about vaccinations, about this. And it's all in their heads. You understand? So one has to look at a situation and say, what do I have to do to grow here? How do I have to use this to get closer to God, to get closer to my spiritual enlightenment? And being right or wrong doesn't do this. You understand? Being right or wrong really traps people in a box, in a cubicle, which they try to fit everybody else into. And therein you have all the problems because nobody fits. So you have conflict amongst people because everybody sees a different reality. Everybody sees a different right, a different wrong. And there's this endless conflict that goes on in the world because nobody is willing to go deep inside themselves to where they turn positive and negative just into energy that helps them to grow and have a spiritual life, which helps them to transcend the manifestations of the mind. Because positive and negative are simply manifestations of the mind. That's all they are. And whether we're right or we're wrong, it doesn't mean anything. In fact, Rudy always talked about being wrong. He said, I'd rather be wrong than right. And that made a lot of sense to me because if you're wrong, then you can defer to somebody else to teach you something that you need to do to learn to grow. And there's humility in not being right. You're right, there's nowhere else to go. You're like a dead person. So all of this is part of the development of an inner life. And once you begin to touch on transcendental energy, it's no longer positive or negative, it's just energy. It's just energy. What can I learn from this? What can I learn from all of this madness that goes on in the world? How can I grow from it? I mean, I know somebody today, I got a phone call, went through a terrible situation. And my response to it was, this is a very positive thing because it's going to make you change. You are going to have to change. in order to deal with this. So this is not a negative situation. It's just something that's come along to teach you that if you continue to go this way, that the rest of your life it's going to be like this. You've got to change inside. So to me, positive and negative are just simply energy. And it becomes positive and negative depending upon how human beings interpret it. I mean, there was once this wonderful play I saw called Rashomon. It was a movie too, Japanese, movie. And it was about, I think, 4 or 5 different people telling about the same experience. And you'd never for a minute believe that they were talking about the same thing. And it was just a really incredible take on how, lopsided reality is and how it depends upon who sees it and their interpretations. So to me, it's better, to not interpret it in the mind. It's better to use positive and negative as just energy that can help you grow and to help you really attain a much deeper connection with higher energy in the universe. Otherwise, it's just war. It's war. My view versus your view, what I believe versus what you believe. And it's just people fighting with each other. Who's right in a situation? And I'm not sure anybody is ever right in a situation. Everybody is somehow missing the point. What can I do from this situation to learn how to grow inside myself? There'd be a lot less fighting in the world if people just listen to each other, learn from each other, stop being right, stop knowing better than everybody else, being able to defer to other human beings and allow them to truly teach us things that we have to know about ourselves. So all of this, I think, works, not only for a spiritual life, but just learning to live here like human beings. Because the rest of it is just conflict. It's what my mind sees versus what your mind. Then you get a couple of people that agree with each other. It almost gets worse because they become them against the world,
Thank you.
I gave up years ago knowing what's right or wrong in this world. I don't know. Everything became my teacher. And everything gave me an opportunity to grow and to develop my spiritual life because it was no longer right or wrong or finding people that agree with me or disagree with me. It was, what does it have to teach me? And that took a lot of detachment. It took a lot of getting free of myself. And I think this is a very important aspect of not only a spiritual life, but just learning how to live here like a human being. It gets rid of all imperious natures and, superiority over other people. It brings compassion, it brings love, it brings so many things that are essential in life. If this world is going to, become a place that's livable. So I think it's a very good question, Larry. And I speak about it a lot, but it really needs to be repeated. Because frankly, I believe that as soon as these classes are over, most people go right back into their heads. And that's not the purpose of the class. The purpose of the class is to get the training so you stay centered in the chakra below the navel, no matter what you're doing during the day. And then you let the higher energy come in and teach you, how to live here on a better level. And of course, as I say all the time, it takes training. It takes time, it takes patience. It takes an incredible amount of training in the development of a system inside that's strong enough just not to be right. just to be able to defer to other people, to listen instead of always just voicing one's opinion. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Does anyone have a question? I mean, these classes are about what I just talked, what I was just speaking about. Building the kind of inner life that enables us to truly live here, and just letting the world be. It's God's world. It is not our world. And if we suddenly discover how sacred life is and how beautiful life is, and if we suddenly discover that if we don't interfere with life, it has so much to teach us. There's so much goodness. There's so much love. Interfering with it just brings so much problems, and it's just staggering what it does. Even in, with this global warming thing, it's all about human interference with nature. And nature's finally saying, I've had enough. All right, you want this? I'll give you COVID. I'll give you, hurricanes, fires. I'll give you, all this. And nature's just responding according to what we give nature. And that's our rightness, our greediness, wanting to be superior to everything in the world. Instead of listening, saying, okay, how can we do this without destroying nature? But then greed gets in the way, and everybody's idea of right and wrong, and this is what you got. Hurricanes, more hurricanes than I can ever remember in my lifetime. Fires burning half of America here. California is like one big fire. It's unbelievable. And it's all the product of human beings not listening and saying, okay, what can we do? What can we learn from this to fix it? Instead of, no, we'll keep taking and taking and taking. I mean, it's like these meditation classes. You can't keep taking and taking and taking without giving something. Understand? Otherwise, it's just, it doesn't work. One has to give something in order to receive. Understand? We have to give something to nature in order to receive the benefits of living with clean air, with, without, having all this global warming and all this nightmare that goes on in the world. Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no questions, I want you to know I'm really enjoying being in Mexico. It's been great to get away. I'm not sure if I'm going to wind up living here, but it's been really a lot of fun to do this. A whole different culture, different ethnicity, a different folkloric energy that's here that really is deeply nourishing. And it enables me to begin to see the world a little differently. Making friends with taxi drivers and Uber drivers and all these people. It's really wonderful to see that we're just all a bunch of human beings living here in different countries, different parts of the world. The needs are the same: family, love, being accepted as a human being. It's all the same wherever you go. So God bless you all for being part of this. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. There'll be a class Tuesday. I think next Thursday, I'm not going to be able to teach because I'm going to be traveling. But there will be a class this Tuesday. And again, in all humility, I just feel a deep gratitude to every one of you for coming here and doing this. And, that we can share together this profound meditation that hopefully can help everybody doing it truly connect to God and have a spiritual life. So bless you all. Have a wonderful day. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Tuesday. God bless you.
Bless you too.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Thank you.